Gunna is facing a lot of backlash from his recent plea deal that he took in the YSL RICO case. Many people have mixed emotions, some saying he snitched, some saying he didn't. After a few weeks of silence, he finally came out and addressed the situation. But before we get to that, let me explain how Gunna even got here in the first place. Gunna jump-started his career in 2013 after releasing his mixtape Hard Body, and he went by Young Gunna at the time. Gunna and Young Thug met in 2015 at a video shoot for Thug's song With That. A year later, Thug put Gunna on the radar when they collabed on Floyd Mayweather, a song on Thug's album Jeffrey. Later that year, Gunna was signed on to Thug's newly found label YSL, and he went to release his mixtape Drip Season, which later turned into a series of tapes. He and Thug were like Shaq and Kobe, dropping hits together left and right, like Caught Me a Foreign, Secure the Vibe, and Tomorrow for Infinity. By 2018, Gunna rose to the top, landing him a collaboration with Lil Baby on Drip Too Hard that ended up being one of his most popular songs. This song went diamond and was even nominated for a Grammy. In 2019, Gunna secured himself a spot on the XXL freshman class, while Thug dropped his album So Much Fun that included the hit song Hot, which peaked at 26 on the Billboard charts, making it their most successful joint track together. By 2021, YSL as an entire label was flourishing, with stars like Lil Key, Yak Gotti, and Lil Duke at the top of their roster. They were clearly the next big thing. But when 2022 hit, the world turned upside down for this talented group of people. In May 2022, Gunna, Thug, and 26 other members of YSL were arrested and charged with many crimes, including RICO. When the information on this arrest was released to the public, fans, along with celebrities, were sending out prayers and doing anything they could to get Young Thug and Gunna released. They even went as far as getting petitions made and signed by over 75,000 people. Millions of fans from across the country watched as these 28 members fought for their freedom throughout many court hearings. During Gunna's first court appearance, it appeared that the judge was trying to charge Gunna with participation in street gang activity and conspiring to violate the state's RICO Act because he was once caught up in a traffic stop with Young Thug, who they say is the group leader or King Slime. His lawyer argued that he shouldn't be linked to a RICO case over something as simple as traffic stops, but that was really the only evidence they had on him, linking him to the gang side of YSL. Things were going good so far with YSL, and everyone was fighting, saying that it was only a music label, not a gang. It was until December where things started to get a little shaky. On December 14th, 2022, Gunna appeared in court again, but this time he was willing to negotiate deals with the judge. Eventually, they came to an agreement where he doesn't have to admit he committed a crime, but acknowledges that it is in his best interest to plead guilty. He was sentenced to 5 years, with 1 served in prison, but the remaining 4 years has been suspended for now. After taking the plea, the rapper released a statement saying, "While I have agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way." And despite him saying that he will not testify, it's a part of his deal that he has to testify if he's called, though he can claim the Fifth Amendment. His lawyer even released a statement on Instagram saying that Gunna did not snitch to get out, and he is not cooperating. He also let fans know that Gunna's plea deal statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. And what makes all of this even crazier is Gunna released a statement beforehand saying that YSL isn't a gang, but more like a group of people from Metro Atlanta who shared common interests. He also said that his only focus and reason for joining YSL was for entertainment. But this statement meant little to nothing when the footage of him taking his plea deal was released to the public. In the footage, he admitted that YSL was a gang, and he recognized the facts that his music led to the downfall of his community. He even said out of his own mouth, YSL as a gang must end, going back on everything he said in his statement. The judge also asked him many questions about what went down when he and Thug were pulled over in a traffic stop, and he pretty much threw Thug under the bus. If you and Thug were the only 2 people in the traffic stop and you say that the drugs aren't yours, then you're pretty much saying that they belong to the only other person in the car. A lot of people took this as a form of dry snitching.
You were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea agreement, the rapper will have to perform 500 hours of community service, with most of that time being spent talking to young people about the hazards and immorality of gangs and gang violence. Once Gunna's release made it public, many rappers and celebrities spoke on it, some calling him a snitch and some trying to defend him. Boosie spoke his mind about the situation through Twitter, calling Gunna a rat and saying how this would have put him in tears knowing that his own artist is going against him while he's fighting for his life. He also said how Gunna only had one charge and wasn't going to get any hard time if convicted. He ended his statement with blaming lawyers for playing mind games on their clients, convincing them to cooperate so they can get released faster and make the lawyer look good, resulting in more clientele. 6ix9ine, who's also been accused of being a rat, called Gunna out on it too, pretty much saying the same thing Boosie said. Wack 100 said in a call on Clubhouse, "It's no way you're pleading guilty to a RICO and they're freeing you." He did something. After someone mentioned to Wack that Gunna admitted to YSL being a gang, Wack said, "There go the telling right there." He told, doubling down on his statement, calling Gunna a snitch. People like Lil Duval and Michael Blackson were on the other side of things though. They were trying to convince people not to label Gunna as a snitch until Thug said it himself. But what's so crazy about that is that Young Thug recently unfollowed Gunna on Instagram, along with many other artists such as Lil Durk, Meek Mill, and even Lil Baby. Durk even made a diss track mentioning Gunna where he said, "What happened to Virgil, he probably gonna tell," referencing a song they made together earlier in 2022 titled "What Happened to Virgil."
What happened to Virgil, he probably gonna tell.
Youngboy even spoke saying how he wanted no parts of the drama surrounding Gunna and wanted to keep the drama away from him on his Amazon radio show, Never Broke Again Radio. He pretty much said don't call him, asking him what he thinks about another person's situation when he has nothing to do with it. He said it ain't his business and he doesn't care, so leave him out of it. Weeks after Gunna's release, he tweeted out, "R.I.P. Key, I love you and I miss you, twin." Lil Got It, Key's brother, replied through an IG story saying, "Don't call me twin, and these dudes need to stop that cap." Sauce Walker, a popular Houston rapper, went live on Instagram and said he felt sorry for Young Thug and joked on Gunna for snitching.
I feel sorry for Jeffrey. I feel sorry for him, man.
Rapper Freddie Gibbs wasn't too surprised when he heard the news. He called Gunna out a few years ago for his participation in the Crime Stoppers commercial, but Gunna denied that he was a rat. Gunna went on to diss Freddie on his album Drip Season 4. Freddie mentioned how some rappers took their verses off of his album because he was beefing with Gunna. He said he wonders how these artists feel now, knowing that the rat allegations were true the entire time, and Gunna was in the wrong. Upcoming Texas comedian Charleston White took an entirely different approach though. He praised Gunna for snitching and said that Young Thug is a murderer and needs to be locked away for his crimes. Popular love and hip-hop star and former Dipset member Jim Jones spoke his mind about the situation too, saying that he doesn't know the entire situation, but where he comes from, taking a plea deal when you have co-defendants is really not the thing you're supposed to do. He followed by saying, if you're up against a case by yourself, that's different, but when you're taking a plea, it's a touchy thing. Weeks later, Gunna posted a picture on IG announcing that he's back, and he used the hashtag YSL the label. I just think it's kind of odd how he's going back and forth from it being a gang and a label, but that's none of my business anyways. Let me know if you feel like Gunna is a snitch or not in the comments, and check out this video if you want to know more about this case.